Hello and welcome to CIPD Bitesize. In this series of videos, we're going to be breaking down the units 5C003, which is professional behaviours and valuing people. This is one of the core modules and the first module that you get to study if you're studying with HRC online. So we're going to try and break through this module as best we can. It's a bit of a tricky one in terms of how CIPD have laid out some of the questions. So if you are studying with us, obviously you're going to get a bite-sized video per AC. If you're not with us and you're just looking at this, we make the first one available on AC1.1 for everyone so that you can go through and sort of have a bit of an idea as to an approach to do this. CIPD Bitesize is something that's been launched formally in October, so you will have time to sort of work through this. But for our learners, we are trialing it and we are getting it live and everything now. Anyway, let's look at this unit. So about this unit focuses on how to apply core professional behaviors such as ethical practice, courage, and inclusivity to build a positive working relationship and support the employee voice and well-being. It considers how developing and mastering new professional behaviors in practice can impact work. And in terms of this module, this is probably the core CIPD module that doesn't require as much citations, evidence, and information as the other units because it's asking within here for multiple critical reflections, multiple CPD records, and there's certain things that are in and excluding the word count, and we'll go through those when we hit to those certain units and stuff like that. But this is all about you. This is about how we develop you as an independent HR person. So this assessment is based on something which they consider key professional and ethical behaviors, so that they expect from people in the people profession. So the assessment requires you to demonstrate in written responses your knowledge and ability against each of these requirements. And to assist you to do it, it poses 11 questions. So you have 11 questions to answer in this particular assessment, one for each of the requirements. You should respond to each of the 11 questions, providing a mix of theoretical knowledge and practical examples and personal reflections. Some of the questions ask you to include feedback from others, 2 of them specifically. So before you commence the assessment, you are advised to identify and collect relevant feedback from at least one person who has an insight into your behavior at work. Wouldn't necessarily do that now. I would potentially do it when you're attacking that particular module, but yeah, give someone a bit of a warning that you're going to ask for some reflections. When submitting your response, please ensure that you are clearly signposting typical using subheadings and question numbers as an AC to reference to your response to the relevant question. You should also ensure that your work complies with the word count requirement stated at the end of this assessment. Now, what they mean by that is, and we will cover this on every single thing, when you answer a question, if you're answering AC1.1, you put AC1.1 there in big capital letters, and then you write your response underneath it. A subheading is a distinct summary of the paragraph below that you're about to write. So a subheading should be summarizing in 4-5 words at most what that's about, so that when a marker and a moderator is looking at your work, they can go, yep, this all makes sense, and they don't necessarily need to read every word. They will, but they don't need to, because you've laid it out in a way where they can go, I can see they're answering AC 1.1. I can see the subheading here is about personal reflections. I can see this is about this. I can see this is about this. I understand what they're doing. They've laid it out in a really helpful manner. I will give this person as many marks as they need. Now, to give you an indication of the marks, so on CIPD, you're marked from a grade 1 to a grade 4. 1 is a fail, or a refer, depends on your centre. Different people have different words for it. We use refer here, even though I've wrote fail here. And the reason we use refer is because CIPD don't like to say you failed. Even though I have a big thing, I think failure is a good thing. I think failure is a key development thing, but they don't like the word failure, so they use the refer. If you score a 1 on any of the ACs, you will have referred on the assessment and you will need to resubmit. That's not a problem. It's going to happen at some point. Don't stress about it. At some point, you'll get a 1 on a particular question. There's 11 questions in this assessment. There's around about 10 to 11 questions on every assessment. 7 assessments, 11 questions, 77 questions. At one point, you're going to get a 1. All you do is you get detailed feedback of what you've done well, what you've done badly, what you need to do to improve to get it up to a 2, 3, or a 4. Don't stress. It'll happen. When it happens, you'll fix it with your centre or you'll fix it with us. We'll put a plan together. We'll tell you what you need to do, and you'll get it up to a 2, 3, or a 4. A 2 is a low pass, and the response demonstrates an acceptable level of, I mean, you can pause it and read this, an acceptable level of knowledge. So A low pass is you've pretty much covered everything that's needed to be covered, but you haven't necessarily gone into sufficient depth. That might be a lack of references and citations, a lack of critical evaluation, a lack of critical insight. A pass is you've pretty much answered the question, you've done everything that's expected of you, and you have achieved the objective of the assessment that's been given, which is perfect. That's mainly what I'd be gunning for as a 3. Some of the word counts are pretty tight, so to be able to get 4s is pretty high, because a 4 demonstrates a wide and confident area of knowledge, understanding, and skill. This is where you're pulling in multiple references from multiple things, you're doing critical evaluation, you're adding your own self-views and things. And I'm going to be honest, it's practically, in my view, impossible to get all 4s on an assessment because you don't have the word count to achieve it. When you gain the CIPD qualification, because if you're studying this and you're watching this, you are going to get the qualification. You are going to get through this. We will get through this. The 4 is at no point will you be ever sat in a HR interview and they go, just so that we can grade you against other candidates. What did you get on your 5003 AC 1.4 out of 4? No. When you complete this qualification, you get your CIPD certificate, you are CIPD qualified. Not CIPD qualified with a low pass, a medium pass, a high pass. There's no merit distinction. You are competent, you are certified. That is it. No one's ever going to ask you if you got a low pass on this AC, a high pass on that AC, because they change, and they change quite regularly. We're in the middle of a syllabus update at the moment. For example, 5HR01, which is one of the units, has gone from 16 ACs, so 16 questions, down to 10. Now, at what point is someone going to turn to you and go, yeah, but what did you get on AC 3.1? Well, 3.1 doesn't exist anymore, so I got nothing. But I still passed because it's how the qualification evolves, keeps it current, keeps it up to date. So don't stress too much about your grade. As long as it's higher than a 2 or higher, you're golden. You'll be absolutely fine. So try not to stress about it. And when at some point it happens, because it will probably happen at some point, it happens to everyone at some point, just means you've either misread the question, misunderstood something, and it's really easy fix. And we kind of go through that in a little bit more detail in this when we go into AC 1.1. You have to write in this assessment a written response to the first questions 1 to 10 with approximately 3,250 words. You can go 10% over, you can go 10% under. Any breach either side of that, instantaneous refer. So you have 325 words per question on this particular assessment. Now, AC 1.1. Now, CIPD have learned a new trick, and their new trick is to set a question up in the following way. An effective people practice professional will understand the purpose value of the people profession with reference to the CIPD profession map, appraise what it means to be a people professional. Now, there are 2 questions in a CIPD assessment. There is what you would call, within the learner assessment brief, you have the story, so how it sets it all up and stuff like that, which is the top one. And then you have the marking guide. And the marking guide question is a really simplified version of the question that just tell markers and moderators, so the people that are going to be grading your work, this is what we need them to answer. So you've been given this lovely introduction. An effective people practice professional will understand. Really, the question is appraise what it means to be a people profession. Now, what I've done here is I've broken the question down. So appraise is your key verb, what it means to be a people professional. You can see within the overarching, they want you to use the CIPD profession map. So using the CIPD profession map, appraise what it means to be a people professional. That is the question. But because they've obviously, an effective people practice professional will understand them, because there's all this intro verbs and like storytelling to it, you can really miss the question on this. So I'm going to, in this series, you're going to see, we're going to have the student fronted the top of the learner assessment brief question, and then we're going to have the marking guide, and we're just going to smash through them both together to give you what the perfect answer is and what the perfect question is, what they're asking you to do. Because there's elements where they want you to use some of the pre-word, like they want you to use the profession map, but really they want you to appraise what it means to be a people professional. And that's the question that they want you to answer. So to break this down into its action points, appraise, to examine something in order to judge its quality, success, or needs. So your action point 1, so your subheading, What is the purpose of a people professional? That would be my title. That would be my first subheading. Meaning of people professional. How does it benefit employees? How does it benefit the business? That's how you're appraising what it means. So it's the judge the qualities, the success of something. How does the people professional benefit multiple people? And the study tip on this is use the profession map. That's what they want you to use. So if I was appraising what it means, well, what does it mean to employees? What does it mean to the business? What does it mean to me? What is the purpose? And use the CIPD profession map. It's designed to tell you what a people professional is. If you break that into 3 subheadings, that means you have around about 105 words per AC. You can go to about 110 words per AC. Reference citation to CIPD. CIPD love CIPD. You'll hear me say it a lot in these bite-sized videos. CIPD love CIPD. So when we start to look at some of the additional resources that you need the CIPD profession map. I would definitely use the CIPD profession map because it tells you in the question they want you to use it. I would use the AIHR. Why is human resources important? AIHR is basically the Australian version of CIPD. They put really, really good detailed articles where they break things down and they've got a lot of research with it. And the Economic Times, why is HR important? So again, it's an external view. So when you're trying to say what it means to be a people professional, why is it important? Why is it essential? A reference and a citation, I would probably gain for about 2 in this. One being the CIPD's profession map and what it means. One being either the AIHR Economic Times in terms of this is what HR is. This is why HR is important. This is what it means to employees and employers. This is what HR is. And I would build it out that way. So again, just to recap, you lay out your work. AC 1.1 up here, subheading, what it means to be people. So subheading 1 is the purpose of a people professional, how it benefits employees, how it benefits the business. Then my 3 subheadings, that is how I would attack the question, because that way I've examined something or someone in order to judge its quality, success, or needs. So I've appraised it and I've done it in that way, and I've used the CIPD profession map as it outlined in the question, and I've matched the marking criteria so that I can maximize my marks and get a nice solid 3 for this question, which is what we're gunning for, really. We're gunning for 3s. Well, I'm gunning for 3s. If you want to do more, you can do more. You can add more action points and stuff like that, but I wouldn't go above a 3 at this moment until you know you've got the words in the bank. No point in wasting 500 words on this and then having a question at the end where you've only got 100 words left and you can't answer the question fully. And then if you refer on that question, you're only playing with 100 words and stuff like that. So try to limit yourself to 325 per AC. That way you've got everything you need to get through this assessment. Now, one of the things that we do to help you understand the contextualized element of the question is we have a bit of an analogy. And in this analogy, imagine HR as a gardener. Sunflowers require constant care and attention to thrive in a contained environment. So a sunflower represents the people within the organization. They have the potential for great growth, but they require specific conditions to flourish. The gardener, HR in this instance, his job is to nurture and cultivate the talent within the organization. Growth, like a sunflower, would thrive if left to its own devices. A ploy wouldn't thrive if left to its own devices. It would, grow up and then it would falter and fall and stuff like that. So employees need guidance and development opportunities. HR provides training, mentorship, performance feedback, helps employees reach their full potential. People growth. HR fosters a positive work environment that encourages collaboration, open door communication, and professional development. This helps not only grow in their current roles, but prepare for future ones. So again, they might be taking the sunflower seeds out and replanting them and growing them and putting them into different pots and different areas. So containment, for example, as well, like in a positive way, a sunflower pot restricts some of the growth, some of its physical growth, but it may develop stronger root system and more defined shape if it goes to a different pot, or if it's planted in a different place. So HR in this instance is a gardener, and you play a crucial role in both individuals and organizations as a whole, because you're the cultivator who creates the environment for things to grow and thrive. So when you're answering this question, try to think of yourself as a gardener of sunflowers. How do you help people grow big, strong, grow into these big root systems, get the most out of people so that the organization can be really healthy and strong, but the person can also be really healthy and strong. And that's what it means to be a people professional. You look at it from a whole different range of things, from the soil, the well-being, the infrastructure, and what you get out of that in terms of sunflower seeds, sunflower oil, and other bits and pieces. That's kind of what HR's job is. Absolutely best of luck with this unit. I'm sure you'll do great, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.